and kind of talk through the process of Blackboard Collaborate, what we did to create these sessions, what you can do. We've talked a lot in some of the previous sessions about having either synchronous meetings or asynchronous meetings with your students. Again, synchronous would mean I want everybody to be in at the same time. We are having a synchronous meeting right now. It might be that you want to have either office hours happen during something like this, or have certain times where you want the students all to get together to discuss things. That would be a synchronous meeting that you wanted to use Blackboard Collaborate for. Or it could be that you want to do an asynchronous thing where either you and a select number of students or just you come in and you record something and then you post that online for everybody else. So I'm recording this meeting right now. I'm going to show you how I did that in just a second, or in just a little bit. You will be able to, so it could be that you come in, you record something, and then you just share that out afterwards, and let students watch it on their own time. It could be a combination where you say as many students as possible can come in together. We'll record this session, and then for those students who can't, the recording will be available for you afterwards. Okay, so that's some of the things that we're going to be talking through and kind of exploring today with this tool, and then talk a little bit at the end about Office 365 as well. Okay. I see a couple people with raised hands, so I'm going to pause really quickly and see what questions there are, both in the chat and for the people who have their hand raised. So Nithya, I saw you had raised your hand. Did you have a question that you wanted to?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you right now, Nithya. Thanks.
How do we do office hours? Because office hours are usually private. We can do, like, a student comes into the office and we have a private conversation with them. Does Collaborate allow that?
So yes, we were talking about this a couple different ways. It could be in office hours where you have certain times reserved for everybody to have large class discussions. In more individual meetings, there's two ways to do that. One, you could create a link to only share to that one person, or it could be that you share there's something in here called breakout rooms. And so breakout rooms allow you to put people into smaller rooms. And you could have it be where one breakout room is just you and one student. And you can have it set up where other students can't come into that breakout room. So you could have like a main area where most people are hanging out, and then you go into a breakout room with the student, and then when you're ready, you come back out to the main room and pull another person in with you to that breakout room. So there are some ways. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Would you be able to share the steps of how we set up the breakout rooms?
Yes, I'll be going through that a little bit. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And Ria, you have your hand raised again. Do you have another question as well?
Yes. How do I record something?
Yep. So so let me start at the beginning, and I'm gonna go all the way through everything. Okay. All right. So there are three roles inside of Blackboard Collaborate. There are participants, there are moderators, and then there's a third one called presenters. Right now, currently, Tim Ploss is in as a moderator, and I'm in as a moderator. We are able to see everything and have full control over this space. Everybody else right now is in as a participant. We have it set up so that when you come in, the default role is participant. As a participant, you have very limited roles. You're not able to do very much inside of here. So moderators, we can do breakout rooms. We can be able to share things with everybody else. So we have the ability to see kind of everything inside of the course. The third option is presenter, where you could give somebody a presenter access so that they could share screen and be able to do presentations. And you can change those roles throughout the whole meeting. So I could make Ria right now a presenter so she could share her screen with everybody. And when she's done, I could take that role back and make her a participant again. I can make somebody a moderator if I wanted to be help control with breakout rooms and be able to do things that way. So there's the three roles that we have available to us. Since I'm in as a moderator, I'm able to have the most power inside of here right now. I'm going to stop sharing my video right now. So I'm going to turn off my video, and I'm going to start sharing my screen. Actually, before I do that, there's one other thing I want to point out. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little purple tab. If you click on that purple tab, it shows you a bunch of tools you have available. The first one's a chat feature. Some of you are already in the chat and can do this. If you want to be able to chat, then that's a great way to be able to ask questions and allow them to have that. The second option allows you to see all the participants, and this is where you can go in. I can go in to see whose hand is raised, and I'll actually show you what that looks like in a second. And then the third option is the share content option, and when you click on that right now as a participant, you don't have any options. I have a whole bunch of options that are available to me. So I'm going to share my screen right now so you can see. We're going to have an echo effect in here, a telescoping effect, because it's sharing the same screen over and over again. But what's important is at the right-hand side right now. So I'm in as a moderator. If I go into the chat, I can see the chat with everyone. If I back out, each of you has the ability to just chat directly with just the moderator, so you can send a chat just to me if you want to. And actually, the moderators have the ability to just chat with each other if the moderators need to be able to talk to each other as well while something's going on. So that's the chat area. I can go into the chat for everyone and be able to see that, or if people have specific chats just to me as the moderator, I can see those as well. The second space with the participants, if somebody wants to raise their hand right now, so if you click on the raise hand option, if you can see now over here, I can see the people right here who have raised their hands. Additionally, we have lots of people, it chimes up on top as well, but this is how I can see who has raised their hand and be able to call on them if I want to. Additionally, as the moderator, I can lower their hand, so I can, let me back up for just a second. For each person, there's some options over at the right-hand side for attendee controls. I can click on this, and it would give me the options then to say I can send a chat message just specifically to that person. I can make that person a moderator or a presenter. I can also make that person a captioner, so if we want to have somebody who's in charge of trying to kind of write out the captions as you're going, you can, but we're not expecting that inside of here. And then I can also lower people's hands if I want to do it. Additionally, if somebody accidentally has their microphone on and I want to mute them, there becomes an option to mute that person as well. So let's say, Rhea, because you were doing it earlier, Rhea, if you turn on your microphone really quickly.
It's on.
So I can kind of scroll down through this list to see whose microphone is on. Rhea, you are where in my list? I thought you were going to be.
You went by me. Back down. Go down again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm there. Got me. There you go. Right there. Go stop.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
There you are. Okay.
Next to Sean.
So if you notice, Rhea has a microphone icon next to her right now. I can see that her microphone is on. If I click on the attendee controls for her, I have a mute option for her. So if you have somebody there's a lot of background noise going on, you can go through and mute people as you need to. So I just muted Rhea again, so that it's not she's not live anymore. So you as the moderator have controls to do that. As participants, you don't have that control right now. So I'm going to go through and lower everybody's hands that's out there right now. If you actually have a question, you'll need to raise your hand again now that we're all back in here. Okay. So Angie, did you have a question right now? Okay, so I'm going to pause on that for right now. Angie, if you have a question, you can raise your hand again. All right. Additionally, I have the share content option down at the bottom. I'm going to click on share content now as well. This is how I can do all sorts of different things. I can share a blank whiteboard. I'm not going to do it right now. Those are collaborative spaces. Everybody has access to those. It gets a little crazy when everybody's trying to write on that at one time unless you have a really small group. So I usually don't like the whiteboard. I usually go to share application screen, and then if I have a PowerPoint, I can open that PowerPoint and be able to start presenting from that PowerPoint. So here's a PowerPoint that I had from an earlier presentation that we were doing. I could go through this presentation now to be able to talk about different things if I wanted to. I like this tool more than the share files tool. The share files tool, it actually takes a little bit of time for it to upload into Blackboard. So you actually have to have it be uploaded into Blackboard Collaborate in advance, and then students can see it and download that file. So it's a little more cumbersome. I can click on Share Files, and then I can add files in here, and then it actually gets uploaded in and converted into a format so students can see it easily. I much prefer the share application, and then I'll go back into Blackboard afterwards and share a file with them there if I want to. Now, additionally in here, there is some polling, so I can add a poll into here. I can either do a multiple choice question or a yes/no question. So I could say right now, do you feel like you are comfortable with Blackboard Collaborate? Yes or no? Do you feel comfortable with BB Collaborate? You have to write these in as you go. This is where it's kind of nice if you want to do questions or polling to have a secondary person. Maybe you have a TA that you have in here that's going to be asking questions and doing this. You can make them a moderator in the Blackboard Collaborate session. Then you have one person who is actually running the session and one person who's adding in questions. So I'm going to click Start. You now have a question up there. Do you feel comfortable with Blackboard Collaborate right now? You can answer. As you see, this is going to show an overall response right now. Carrie, yes, polling does have to be synchronous in a Blackboard Collaborate session. You can do polling in regular Blackboard that wouldn't be synchronous. So if you want to do just a question to your students that's not synchronous, I would recommend using the test surveys and pools. The survey to do polling outside of Blackboard Collaborate, okay? I can show the actual responses if I want to everybody. So now you should be able to see the responses. If I click hide responses, then you are not seeing them. You are not seeing them now if I don't show them, correct? You don't get to see them unless I click it. You're seeing it because I'm sharing my screen with you. But if I click show responses, then you actually should see them in a different place as well. Okay. This is anonymous. It's just overall responses. It's not, I can't see that Betty said yes or no. I can't see that Ria said yes or no. I can only see that as a class we have 41 that said yes, 26 that said no, and I'm sorry, 26 that said yes, 41 that said no, and 11 people that haven't answered. Okay. When I want to stop this question, I can end polling, and then I can go back into polling again to ask another question. So I can say either a multiple choice question or a yes/no question, then ask my next question to everybody else. Okay. Additionally, I have breakout groups. So breakout groups is if I want to put people into smaller groups, I can do that. And we're actually going to try this right now. I can have it randomly assign everybody, or I can do a custom assignment. So if there's 12 people in the class and I have 3 people per small group, that's really easy to do a custom assignment. We have 78 people in here right now, so I'm going to randomly assign you to a group. I'm going to say we want 14 breakout groups right now. So because of that, we're going to have 6 groups that have 6 people in it. We're going to have 8 groups with 5 attendees in it. Now, we were talking about this before with Nithya, with your question about if you want to have an individual space. I could say, yes, I want to put everybody into the groups. I'm going to take this one person into a breakout group with me. I'm going to put everybody else into a separate breakout group. I could say everybody else in that group, you can talk about questions you might have about the class together there while I'm talking individually with this person. Does that make sense? So there is the ability to allow attendees to switch groups. That's not on by default. And here's what's going to happen. I am going to put everybody into their groups right now. I'm going to hit start. If this goes like I think it should, you're going to be in a small group. I'm going to put you there for about 1 minute. If you would like, you could turn on your audio once you go into the group and talk to each other, or you can then how you could talk in there. You could chat inside of your group, however you want to be able to do that. Okay. And Jonathan, I'll show you that in just a second when we come back out. But just so you can kind of see what the breakout groups look like. So I'm going to click Start. You're all going to go out into a breakout room. I'm going to leave you there for about 1 minute, and then we're going to come back in. Sound good? Here we go.
Yeah.
Tim, can you hear me?
Yup, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm going to have to see.
I am also eating.
Yeah.
I'm at home. We're running 2 computers on our network, and it seems to be okay.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Ria's upstairs. You're down.
you got it.
No.
I'm afraid
So
to run the
somebody-
microwave, though.
Yeah. I'm scrolling down through. It's taking a little while for some people to get into the groups, which isn't surprising. We have this many people.
Yeah.
I would recommend doing this with this larger group mostly.
Yeah, it's nuts that it's working.
Yeah, right. Especially after the conversation about 76 users joined group 1. Yeah, especially with Office 365 Teams going down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull everybody back in.
All right, see ya.
Okay. Okay, I think we.
Yeah, so I'm pulling everybody back into the main room now, so you should be coming back into the main room. All right, so I'm pulling everybody back into the main room. If you will, go ahead and mute yourselves again since we're back here. I appreciate that. I was noticing it took some people. Yeah, so I was noticing some people took a while to be able to get in, and it looked like it kicked some people out. We were a large group right now, so I was kind of curious to see how this would work, even with this size group. So thank you for your patience with that. I would recommend small group. I would recommend breakout groups with probably no more than 40 participants. But again, that's something you can kind of test with your students if you wanted to. Again, I'm guessing the reason, Sarah and Lisa, I'm seeing your comments about the video not working. I would say if video's not working at all for you, Sarah, try the Open SUNY Help Desk first. They would probably be the best place to go to that if you have video on your computer. I would try them or try it. Yeah, Diana has a good option of trying it in a different browser. Those would be the 2 things I would try first. And additionally, I would try this with a smaller group. Try with either some of your students or some of your peers in your department to see if you could work on it that way. To see if it works better in a smaller group. And Constance, I see you have your hand raised. Do you have a question?
Yes, the audio was working fine, but the video simply showed me a stop sign when I tried to play video.
Okay. All right, so
Right.
that's good to know. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's again, there's going to be some testing that we need to do moving forward. Like this is the first time I've been on one with 82 people, so we're kind of seeing we're pushing this a little bit to kind of see what the limits are. And Shaheen, thank you very much. When we push you into smaller groups, everybody is able to share their screen then. That is one of the other nice things about breakout groups is that it allows participants to be able to share their screen as well. So that is a possibility to be able to do. Yes, Jonathan, that is correct. Every time you turn on Blackboard Collaborate, you have to get permission to say yes, use the camera. And again, that's a security issue. They're just trying to be very upfront about saying yes, you are giving permission to use this again, so that they don't have constant access to it. So they want to be able to show you we're not looking at your camera on your screen if you don't want us to. So yeah, that is correct that has to happen. So breakout rooms are there. Again, that's under share content, and then breakout groups, and then you can push people out to breakout groups if you want to. Jonathan, you had a question about how would you create a breakout group with just one person in it. So that's where I can go to, instead of randomly assign, I can say custom assign, and it could be that it's only Andres that I want to take into a group with me. So I could drag Andres into group 1, and then also myself. I could put myself in there as well. And I could drag just he and me into that room, and then hit start, and everybody else would stay in the main room except for Andres and myself. And so I could have it set up where it's just the two of us in that room. Here's me. I can drag me down to that room, group 1. Now only the two of us are going to be in group 1. Nobody else is going to be in there. And I can set it up so participants can't change rooms. They can't set rooms. Only moderators can. So I could go into that room with the student. We could talk for a little bit, and then I could click, bring us back into the main room, and I could move somebody else into that room with me if I wanted to. Again, this is harder to demonstrate when you've got 83 of us in the room together, but with a smaller group, you could just say, drag you and that person in, click start, and then bring us back out when we're done. And let's see, if I want to set up small groups to be used throughout the semester, will the program save those groups? No, it won't. So that's the one thing, George. Every time you come in here, you'll have to assign them to the groups again. There's not any way inside of here right now to be able to say to do that. If you want to have them use small groups regularly, I might recommend using Office 365 Teams for that, or just create them every time you come into here. That's a good idea, Tom. So in the groups area, I need to look into that to see if they have access to Blackboard Collaborate from the groups area to be able to do that. So that's a good question. Okay, good. Awesome, Tom. Thank you. So you can create groups and then give them permission to use Blackboard Collaborate from their groups, and then they could do that from there. You would still be able to have access to them if you want, but it wouldn't be everybody in meeting at the same time. That group could then decide when they wanted to do it. So thanks, Tom, for that information. That's new for me. Okay. Let's see. So I want to now back out and talk through the process of how I got us all here. So yes, you can share Word and PDFs just like sharing PowerPoint. So yes, you could share those inside of here. Again, I could share content and go to share files and post those here. I usually find I want to I usually post those directly in Blackboard, not Blackboard Collaborate. It makes it easier for them to get to them. Okay. A couple other questions that popped up inside of chat I want to get to real quickly. So Sven, if I want to use this for office hours, open a session and just sit and wait for a student to enter, and then create a breakout group for that individual. I would say, so yes, well, you're basically open this up and then have it open while you're doing other work. It would be the same as having your door open. It would just be this would be open. If you only have one student in there, then you can just stay in the main room. It's only when you have multiple students in there that you would need to create a breakout room to go into. And yes, it does ding every time somebody is added into the space. So you could kind of have it open and doing other stuff and just kind of listen for it to be able to see if people are joining in. So that, I think, Shaheen, that would answer your question then too. So let me step all the way back now, and then we're going to go through this whole process. So I'm going to go into a different course than this, and then I'll come back to here. So I am going to go into a course. So I'm going to go into my course, and I want to be able to create a space for office hours for my students. So I'm going to go into content area to be able to do this. I could, we talked about this in the last session, I could add a link directly here. I could call it a content area. Actually, I could call it a, this would be a tool link because Blackboard Collaborate is a tool. So I can call it a tool link. I can have it C-O-L-L-A-B-O-R-A-T-E sessions. I can't spell collaborate and talk at the same time. So I can go into type now and say I want that to go directly to Blackboard Collaborate. I want to make this available to my students, so I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to click submit. And that puts a link right in my course links. So when they came here, oops, I did not make this available to my students yet. Oh no, I'm sorry, Collaborate Sessions is here. So this is available to my students. It's available to me as well. When I click on this, it will take me into the Blackboard Collaborate shell where I can work. I can create a session now to be able to do with my students. So I'm going to click on Create Sessions, and it's going to say, what is this? So I'm going to say office hours, and I want to have it be every Wednesday. So I'm going to start on this Wednesday, March 18th, starting at 3:00 p.m. I have found I don't like this because especially the minutes, you still have to click one at a time. So I usually just type in what I want. I want it to be 3:00 p.m. going until March 18th at 5:00 p.m. Okay. I want to repeat this session, so I want to repeat it weekly. I can set up daily, weekly, or monthly. I want to set it every week or every 2 weeks. I'm going to say every week on Wednesday and end after a certain number of occurrences or end on a specific date. So I think the last day of the semester is, so I'm going to say end on a date. The last day of the semester is going to be now April 29th for this, so I can have it go through April 29th. So now it's going to be office hours. It's going to have this be recurring every Wednesday from 3 to 5 and go from there. Early entry, I can set how early students can come in before the start time. I can say no early entry. I'm starting this right at 3:00 and not before. So I'm going to say no early entry. For these sessions that we're doing right now, I set it for 15 minutes so people could come in early so we could talk a little bit. So depending on what you want, if you want that or not. And then I can provide a description if I want. Here's a place for us to meet online. There are some session settings that I can do as well. I can say, what's the default attendee role? Do I want it to be a participant, a presenter, or moderator? By default, it is participant, which is probably what you want. You don't want them to be in here being able to do everything as a moderator. You might want them to be in as presenter if you want everybody to be able to share their screen quickly. Do I want to allow recording downloads, and do I want to anonymize chat messages? Usually I like to be able to know who's chatting with me, so I want to keep the chat non-anonymized. And then for moderator permissions, do I show profile pictures for moderators only, or do you want it to be for everybody? Then you can lock down some things. Do you want participants to be able to share their audio or video? I can check or uncheck that. Do you want to allow participants to post chat messages? Again, it might be a session where you don't want to, so you can uncheck that. And do you want them to be able to draw on whiteboards and files? So again, it gives you some ability to have some different options here for how participants can interact. And then for the telephone options, do you want to allow telephone attendees to join the session using a telephone? I can turn that off or not. I like having that on in case a student can't get in for some reason. The regular way they can still call in and hear it. And then for private chat, you can have it set up where participants can only chat privately with moderators, or you can have it set up where they can chat privately with each other if you want to be able to do that. And do you want moderators to be able to supervise all private chats so that you can still see it even if it's a private chat to another person? Once I have set all of my settings for the course, then I can click Save. This session is now in here and available to any of my students by coming into this course and clicking on Collaborate Session. right? Or wherever you put it. Maybe you put a link to it in content, or wherever you put the link to it, they can click on that and they will come in here and it will see all the sessions that are available to them. Actually, let me check real quick. So I see a whole bunch of people asking questions. So, so let's see. So Jonathan asks, what do you select in content again to schedule sessions? I just looked at one of my, all right, thanks. Yes, so Danny, I'll get to that question in just a little bit about taking attendance. Let me go to where to create a link. So I created a link in here, but if you want to go to a link in your content area, it's under tools and then under more tools. And then the option for Blackboard Collaborate is right here. So if you're in a content area and want to put a link to Blackboard Collaborate, it's under tools and then more tools and then Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. And again, it's going to say, what do you want the link to say? This is just going to be a generic link that's going to put you back into the same place where we just were. It's just linking you into your class session in Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. So I'm going to click Submit just so you can see what this looks like. Here is the link into it. When I click on it, it will take me right into that same place where I just was from the other link as well. So all the links go into the same place where I can create multiple sessions. Okay. Let's see. And then Don, shared office hours for multiple classes. So so I will get there next. So the hardest thing about this is each Collaborate area is per course. Once I have created this, if I want to be able to share it with other people, I need to then go into that Blackboard space. So I'm in this specific course. If I want to share this in other courses, I have to share this link with other people in other courses. So to do that, you click on the 3 dots at the right-hand side. I can edit this session, or I can copy the guest link. And this is how all of you came into this course right now, is I did it through the guest link. So I can get the link to this, and then I can post this link in all of my other classes. Here's the link for my office hours. Click on this link. So I'm now going to go to a different class. I'm going to go to one of my other classes. Here's a class that I have as well. I am now going to go into your information page, maybe, or whatever page. I have these all worded poorly, but now I'm going to just build content and do a web link, and I'm going to say online office hours, and then I'm going to paste the URL right here, and then down here in the description, I'm holding office hours every Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Use this link to talk with me then. All right, and click Submit. And then that's now in this course. I've shared that link in this course. It now looks like this, and the students can click on this to also get into my Blackboard Collaborate session that's being housed in a different course. So I want to pause there for a second, because that is a little complicated. Each Blackboard session is housed in a specific course, but then I can take the link from that and share it with other people in other courses. Or I can share that with somebody else. So if you have an outside presenter that you want to bring in through Blackboard Collaborate, you could do that here. And yes, Christina, the link for a repeated session is the same. George, yes. So yeah, sorry. So there's a lot of stuff coming in real quick. So I'll get to how to save the chat messages. I'll show that in just a second. Would I set up class time in the same way as I just set up office hours? Yes, George, that's correct. You would set that up. And then Christina, the link for repeated sessions is the same. So if it's the same session that you've had coming in multiple times, it's always going to be the same link to all of those. So that makes it easier for being able to do that in multiple classes. Just post it once, say the hours that you'll be in there, and then it'll be ready to go. Okay. Okay, so let me go back into my original course where I have this housed, so we can talk a little bit more about this. So I had put multiple links to this in here. I have collaborate sessions right here. I also have it in my content area over here and have a link to it. Both of these links take me to the exact same place where I can have all of my different sessions set up. So I could have multiple sessions in here for different things. I could have it be where we're going to be talking about a specific topic on Wednesday. I could have a class link for Friday, however you want to be able to do that. Yes, we can save the chats, and I'll show you where in just a second. I can configure this session by following directions on the screen, but how did you start the process? All right, so when I am ready to start this, I click on this, and I can go to the session that I want. And then there's going to be it's not showing here because I already have a session started, but there's a session here that will say start session. So I can then click on that and be able to start the session. Yeah, since it's not the time for that one, I can't start that one. It has to be on at that time.
That's not, this is constant. That's not really what I meant.
Okay.
It's not starting the session, but starting the creation of the session.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where do I go? Do I go to tools somewhere and then?
So once you have a link into Blackboard Collaborate, it will bring you to here. So you can do that from Course Tools. You can create the link inside of a place for students as well. And once you come here, then there's the button that says Create Session right here that would allow you to start.
All right. So within tools. Okay. Thank you.
Right, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Constance. So Andres, can the link be used through the Add Tools Collaborate sessions for another class? And Tom, I'm not familiar with that about meeting in the course room. Like my understanding is you have to create a session to be able to do that, and then students can come into that session. But if you know another way, then I'd be happy to hear that as well to be able to talk through that. But let me pause.
Chilton, this is Tim.
Yeah.
There is a default collaborate session for every single class that appears as soon as you log in to collaborate. And it's reusable. It's also usable by students when you're not in there. And it's always available. You can record it. And I don't quite know how it labels the recordings because I haven't done that. But yeah, it's available. See the one that says Chilton 103B course room? That's always there unless you hide it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
And thanks, Tom, for so that course room is always up there. It does look like you can lock that. So at the right-hand side, there's the 3 dots. You can edit settings for this. There is a lock course room as well for this one if you wanted to lock that. So thank you. That's, again, I'm still learning stuff on this too. So thank you. That's great to know. And Susan, yes, you can set up specific times for TAs to do office hours. And you could use that course room to be able to do that. And that's some of the testing that we'll need to do to figure out the best way, how that would work then as far as who's a moderator and who's a participant in that when they go in. And Tom, it sounds like you've used that before. If you want to chime in, let me know, because I'd be interested to hear more about that too if somebody else knows more about it. And George, when I create a session, will my enrolled students all automatically have access? When you create a session in a course, yes, all of your students will have, in that course, will have access to it. Students in a different course would not have access unless you share the link with them. All right. I want to jump to a different course for just a second to show you a little bit more. We're actually housing all of these Blackboard Collaborate sessions through an organization called Level 1 Blackboard Training. All of you should have access to this course. I'm sorry, excuse me, it's an organization. So all of you should have access to this organization when you go out to the Home tab in Blackboard. So when you first log in and you go to My Organizations, you should see a Level 1 Blackboard training for faculty. When you click on this, we are housing all of the webinars right here. We added a link called Changing Modalities Webinar. So you can click on this and be able to go into here, and that will take you directly into the Blackboard Collaborate session for this course. This is all of our upcoming sessions, but we also can filter by all of our previous sessions. So I can go back and look at previous sessions, and inside of here, for each one of these, I can click on this and say View Reports. So I'm going to go to, let's see, this is the one from yesterday. I'm going to click on View Report from here. It's going to show me the number of attendees, and I can click on View Report, and it will show me when everybody came in and what all happened in there. I can export this either as a printable version or a CSV version to be able to get all of the information from there. All right, I can see how if it's a guest that entered, what the name is of the person who came in. So this is the way I can take attendance on what was inside of here. Okay, and I have I can look at all of this data this way. So again, I got to this by going into your space, looking at all previous sessions, and then you can run a report on a specific session to get information about that. In addition, in the top left-hand corner, there is 3 lines that I can click on, and this can take me to my recordings of all of my sessions as well. The recordings of the sessions is everything that was recorded in that time, so it'll show you how long each one is. I can click on the little dots to the right of it. I can watch now. I can download it. I can copy the link so I can share this link out to other people. This is how we'll be sharing these links out again. We'll copy links from here and share them out in an email so people can get to them. You could email this out again to students to remind them that it's there, or just say come in here to get to them. When you watch this, I don't know if it's going to let me load the recording right now. I'm probably going to kill my machine, so I'm not going to do that. My understanding is the chats are recorded in there as well, so you're able to see the chat as well and have that at that point. Okay. All right, so I want to pause for a second and come back out to check on questions. So thanks, Tom, for putting in. Okay, thanks. Yes, so that's the next thing I'm getting to is recording. So whenever you want to record, that's in the top left-hand corner. So under the 3 lines at the top left-hand corner, when you click on that, it brings out a different menu. The top one, again, only for moderators. Moderators only have the option to record. So when I'm not recording, it says start recording. I am recording this right now, so it will say stop recording. So I have to go in and hit start recording when I want to start recording, and then I can come back in here to say stop recording when I'm finished. It seems like, so let's say this session started at 12 o'clock. It's going to go till 1. Right now we have it set to go to 1:15. At 1:16, as soon as this session is finished, that recording will become available. If I stop recording right now, it still won't become available till the session is finished. So as soon as the session is over, then you're able to go back in and access the recordings afterwards. So just kind of, so you know kind of how the recording works inside of here. So I think that's oh yeah. So where to find the recordings? So after the fact, you can go back into your Office, your Blackboard Collaborate session, and go back in the course where it started. When you are there, then you can click on by default, it shows you your upcoming sessions. There's 3 lines in the upper left-hand corner, and then you can go to your recordings and see all of your recordings for that specific class. You can then either download those recordings if you want to, or share them directly from here. So that is your choice at that point. So George, the recording will be available to all participants in that course by default. If you want to share that with somebody outside of the course, you need to get the link for that recording and then share it out in other places. And let's see, so Shaheen, the calling function seems to work pretty well. The phone number is the same, but then each session has a unique PIN that you put in afterwards. So you can always call the same phone number, but then the PIN number that you get for this one would be different than the PIN number for every other session. So right now, our understanding is when you call in, you can hear, you can't see anything, and you can't talk. So it's just a way for the students to be able to listen in, even if they're not able to participate other ways. And Donna, I'm not sure when you mean that students, this has copyright. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking there. Are you asking about if this specific video has copyright? So the recording itself, that's up to you. If you feel like you want to, if it's just a session where you're talking, you might not want to. If it's a session where you feel like you want to retain the copyright on it, then yes, you want to say that to your students. Let's see. Jean asks if you can view who viewed the sessions after the initial session. I don't know is the answer right now. So that's something that we can look into. Corey, can a TA be a moderator in their own sessions? I think if you use the course one, you can do that. That's one of the things that I need to look into is if you can set up by default for students going on their own, and then who would be the moderator inside of there. So that's something I need to look into to see. So we'll get some more information on that. Let's see, is the recording audio or video? It's both. So it is a video that the students can watch, but it also includes the audio. That is how the recording works inside of here. And I'm going to pause for just a second. That's a good question, Angie. We'll try that in just a second and find out. I'll stop the recording in just a second and then see if we can start it again. And also, when you are recording, if you notice at the top it says recording messages in this chat. So when you are recording the screen, it's also recording the chat. So you can go back and as you watch the video, you can also see the chat at the same time. It is recording that at the same time. The moderator can use a telephone. That is correct. So if you're the moderator and don't have a microphone, you could call in and have your audio come through the microphone. So yes, that would work, Tyson. Okay. Other questions that you have right now? Pat, I would say so the question was, do you recommend sending the links to students through announcements or email? So I would say just be consistent. If you're going to use email, always use email. If you're going to use announcements, always use announcements. Personally, I would recommend using announcements. That way it's posted in Blackboard and they get an email. But I would just say whatever you're going to use, be consistent with that. Cynthia, yes, you can use Collaborate to record a narrated PowerPoint. So if I was going to do that, I would get everything set up, just like I'm doing right now. I would go into Share Content and say Share My Screen. So then I would be sharing my screen just like I'm doing right now. I would then go in and get my PowerPoint ready. So here's a PowerPoint. I would get my PowerPoint ready. I would then, I wouldn't start the slideshow yet. I would then go back and click the 3 lines and say start recording, and then go into my PowerPoint and start this, and then go through my PowerPoint. So I can go through my PowerPoint right now. I can talk through it. This is being recorded right now as we talk. So I'm going through my PowerPoint. When I get to the end, I would go back into Blackboard Collaborate and click stop recording. And then this would now be a recording of just my screen that I had, and would be able to then share that with my students from there. And again, that would be housed inside of a class, but then I have a link to it, or I could download it and post it into YouTube or somewhere else at that point if I wanted to share it a different way. Okay. Let's see. Betty had asked about reviewing the steps to initiate to start discussion groups. So those are called breakout groups, and they're under the share content area. So I would go to share content and then go to breakout groups. And then be able to put people into groups. Either I can do randomly assign, so it automatically puts people in there, or I can do a custom assignment if I want to specifically put people in a specific class, or I'm sorry, a specific breakout room. So that's how you can do that, okay? And then let's see, I'm gonna go back to the chat. I'm gonna keep answering questions as much as I can. Let's see, are students able to do the same narrative? Oh, you know, that's a good thought, Carrie. Yes, if you have your common room open, then a student could come in, they could go into the class, they could record a PowerPoint and have it be housed right here and Collaborate as well. That's a great idea. Let's see. But I would say this, I think that's what somebody else was asking. They wouldn't know how to do this. You would need to walk them through how to do this. So you probably want to do one Collaborate session where you are running it, showing them specifically how to do it. I would even record that session and post it for them so they could go back and watch that again before they were going to do that. Diane, I'm not when you say you're getting the same name for each session, do you mean your name that you're posting in or something else? If you don't mind giving a little more clarification, I appreciate that. The name of the course, the name of the course is always going to be the same in Collaborate sessions because they're housed in that course. So if I'm understanding your question correctly, even though you're naming them differently, they're all still going to be housed in the same course. So they'll all be showing that. If that doesn't answer your question, let me know if that makes sense. Or if that's not answering your question, let me know what you do need from that one. George said, yeah, so George, if you're going to do a dry run with colleagues, then you need to do one in a course and then just email everybody a link to that. So again, once you've set it up, go back in and click on the 3 little dots to the right of it. You can get go into edit settings, and then the link to it will be available right here for the guest link. And so you can copy that guest link and email that to everybody else in your department that you want to practice with. Okay, let's see. Awesome, thanks. Got you, Diane. Thank you. Let me look into that one then. So you're talking about if you're uploading content to air, what's going on with that? So I need to look into that one a little bit. So David, do students have Collaborate available for them to work together in groups? Yes. So you can create a group in Blackboard. So if you go over to users and groups, oops. If you go to users and groups and create groups, when I create a group, it gives you the option of what tools they have available to them. One of them is Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. Allow group members to create and assess and access session recordings. So you can either let them just have it as a space to be able to collaborate without doing recordings, or you can allow the group members to create and access session recordings as well. So you can do that per group if you want to when you are creating groups. Okay. And Cynthia, as far as downloading and going to YouTube, the nice thing about Blackboard Collaborate is it's not actually inside of our inside of our Blackboard space. It's Blackboard Collaborate is its own thing. So as of right now, I haven't seen any limits on the amount of recordings we can do in there. Downloading and putting them in YouTube, the one benefit of putting them there is you can put closed captions on it. You can't do that very easily. You can't do that very easily inside of Blackboard Collaborate. So if you put it in YouTube, then it will actually auto-create a closed caption for you, and then you would be able to edit that as needed. So that's the one benefit of going to YouTube right now. And George, just like you clicked on the link today, that's all they would have to do is click on the link, they would enter their name, and then they would be able to be in the course. And I'm going to try now. We're almost at the end of time, so I'm going to pause and I'm going to stop the recording. I'm kind of curious about the question about we start the recording again. So I'm going to go up here and click on the 3 lines and then say stop recording.